start by giving more of a personal introduction and bio of myself. I'm a wife. I love my husband. Go husband. I'm a wife of 4 years. We just had our anniversary on July 10th. I'm also a mother of 2 boys, a 12-year-old and an 8-year-old. My 12-year-old just started his first day back to school yesterday. So I'm very excited. That was one success. Summer's over for you. Get you one in school. Got one more to go. He starts school later on next month. My 8-year-old, he is my cheerleader and my critic at the same time. So one day this week I was driving him to camp and I said, can I practice my speech on you all? And my 12-year-old, he's like my cheerleader. Yes, of course, Mom, you can. And my 8-year-old's like, do you have to? Can we listen to the music? Not right now. Can I please? He's like, okay. So I'm starting my speech and he's like, what are you doing? He was like, every good speech needs background music. I said, well, son, I can't focus with your background music, but I appreciate it. And when it was over, my 12-year-old, he was like, oh, Mom, that's good. That's so great. They're going to love it. Can I come? And I was like, no, you can't come. Remember, you're starting school. And my ear was like, if I had to rate it. So he keeps me real humble. So I hope your rating is different than his. But nonetheless, being a mother and just working with young people is really what I feel is my purpose. So I absolutely love the position that I'm in. Though I'm no longer in direct service with young people, I get to work with the people who get to work with the people, right? To impact lives that change our community, that change our schools. And they are the people, honestly, that I needed. I say all the time, our staff in our schools are called site coordinators. And I say to people, I needed a site coordinator because I was not put together. I did not have it together as much as I would have liked to. So my story kind of began with both of my parents being removed from my life at a very early age. From that removal, went into the foster care system in West Virginia, where our grandparents were able to gain custody of us and move us here to Ohio. That was at about 3 or 4 years old. My grandparents were very elderly, but one thing that they stood on was faith and education. You going to church and you going to school. That is going to happen. And when you get to school, you are going to do your best at all times. And there were 4 of us, 4 of my siblings and I, and they just made sure that we went to school, we did the best that we could, but I had challenges. School was not easy for me. My siblings, it came natural. All of them, in 3rd grade, if you are in Columbus City Schools, you get that gifted and talented letter around the 3rd grade space if you are. I didn't get one, but all of my other siblings did. It really was a struggle. And I remember just trying to do my best, but it never really seemed like it was enough. And in our house, C's were not acceptable. I was the C student. So I spent most of my time at the table practicing. Back when encyclopedias was a thing, my grandma would have me get an encyclopedia. She would pick something and I would study it. And that was just to help me in that space. And ultimately, when I was about 14, my grandmother became terminally ill. And in that illness, I remember her calling me in her room. And she said to me, you are not going to be as successful as your brothers and sisters. I need you to know that. And I'm like, okay, I'm 14. And she's like, things don't come as easy for you as it does for them. So what I want you to do is get a skill, work really hard at that skill, master that skill, and use that skill to propel you through life. I'm like, okay, that sounds fair. I didn't see it as her trying to down me, but her trying to put me in a position where she thought, what's her definition of what she thought success looked like for me. For her, success really was driven behind how educated you are, what you can do with that education, the kind of house you can buy, the car you can drive. That was her definition of success, and by right, it was mine too. If I can't barely get through high school, how am I going to get to college? that can't be something I can aspire to, because right now this is too hard. So what she's telling me is not to hurt me, but she's really telling me this because she thinks that I need this direction because I can't go another route. And for a while, after my grandmother passed, I was able to graduate high school. I was like one of those kids 2-3 weeks before graduation, like, okay, am I going to graduate? And I did graduate, but there were so many things that came into place over the next 3 years after my grandmother's passing. I met a phenomenal woman at school, Miss Bess, and she said, it looked like you just been playing. And I'm like, honestly, I haven't been playing. And I'm like, I did do some things that I probably shouldn't have been doing. I got in trouble a lot because school was my escape. At home, once my grandmother passed away, I became the adult in the house. My grandfather had to go to work, so I essentially became the mother to my siblings. So when I got to school, that was a place where I could be a kid, an opportunity for me to just let my hair down. But at the end of the day, I was also supposed to be there to get an education, and sometimes I forgot that. But when I met Ms. Beck, she said, hey, you are not on track to graduate, but we can get you there. These are the things that we need to do to get you there. If you follow this, you will graduate. And after you graduate, you can do whatever you want to do. And I'm like, you don't know me that well, Ms. Beck. You just met me. They told you to say that. This is your road. But ultimately, I followed what she asked me to do. I graduated. She had put me in a program my senior year with now Chase Bank, used to be Bank One. They had a program where they would come and pick up high school seniors, take us out to the big building out in Polaris, and mentor us. And if we finished the program, they would give us a job. So I was like, oh, this is what I'm going to do. I don't know, I don't want to be a banker, but maybe this is my route. Did that, graduated, got a job at the program. Right after I graduated, my grandfather came to me. This is literally the next day. He said, you graduated, I'm so proud of you, but what are you going to do? Because you can't stay here. And I was like, oh, okay, that wasn't the plan. I got this job. I thought I would work, earn some money, go get my own place, things of that nature. Literally, the next day after I graduated, I had to call Miss Bess. I can't stay in my house anymore. I'm grown, essentially. What am I going to do? So I'm going to come and get you. Central State is having open enrollment today, and I'm going to drive you down there, and I guess you're going to Central State. I didn't want to do that. That wasn't my plan. I didn't think I could do college. And ultimately, she came that day. She took me on a road. She took me to the store and got everything I needed for my dorm. And 2-3 weeks later, I was at school. Something I never thought that I was able to do, that I would be able to do, and I managed. The story didn't end there. I spent 2 years at Central State. My younger sibling was having some rough times. She was still in high school. She got put into the foster care system, and I abruptly had to come home and take custody of her. Here I am, this 18-year-old, custody of a 15-year-old, who's still trying to figure herself out, right? And I'm like, I don't know what to do with you. You're a teenager. So I enrolled in Columbus State, got a job, continued to take care of her. My goal was just to get her to graduate. Along that time, my younger brother got put into care. I got custody of him, so now I have 2 teenagers. And here I am just trying to go to school, work, and provide for all of us. And along the way, I met some people, not so good people, got in a relationship that wasn't the best, and experienced about 3 years of domestic abuse. But I didn't have anyone to lean on. This person became my safe space. I use that word very lightly. And he was also assisting, helping me to take care of my siblings. So now success for me is way out of, I'm thinking back to my grandmother's words, I should have just got that skill. I should have just focused on that. I didn't do that. Now I have all of these things in my life that I will never be able to break away from. And it wasn't until I leaned on the second thing that my grandmother impressed on us, which was faith. I have to believe in something bigger than me. And I'm going to be successful by my own definition. Not at this point, it's not about anybody else's. I have to first look at what success looks like for me and what it means to me. And then I have to put in the work to get there. And that took breaking out of that cycle of abuse from the relationship, not just the relationship that I was in with this person, this partner, but my relationship with the world. I had a bad view of what I thought the world wanted me to be, and I felt like I couldn't live up to it, so therefore I wouldn't. So I had to start challenging myself, looking at the things that I've been through and use them to help me to grow. I had to go as far back as even my parents. From the very beginning, I always said, I just want to be anything that they are not, whatever that looks like. But that was small. I could have been literally anything and anybody if that's all I wanted to do. I had to really start connecting with the right people, getting in the right spaces. And randomly, I got a call one day from Community Schools, and I didn't even remember putting a resume in. I truly believe that someone else did it for me because they saw what I needed. And I got a job with Communities and Schools, and I got to go back to the actual middle school that I attended to be the site coordinator there. And it really was a full circle moment, and we're getting straight to success. I remember my first day there, I walked into the teachers' all-staff meeting. End of the day, the principal was going to introduce me to the whole staff. And I walked in, and before anybody could say anything, a teacher stood up, and I recognized her immediately. I'm like, girl, why are you still here? This is like 25 years later. And she said, Ebony Eldridge. And I'm like, this really feels like 7th grade. How you doing? Oh my goodness. And she immediately started crying. And I said, what's that there? Okay? She says, Ebony Eldridge. Oh my goodness. This is in the middle of the all staff meeting, right? These teachers don't know me at all. My first introduction. And she's crying and she says, oh my goodness, I never thought you were going to make it. I thought about you often. I prayed for you, but I did not think you were going to make it. All the things that you went through, the things that you did in my classroom, all of the other things, I never thought you were going to make it. She's literally bawling. All the teachers in the room are now crying because she's having this moment with me in front of the whole staff. And she's like, I am so, oh my God, I got to call Miss such and such, and I got to call Miss such and such. You made it. But for me, it was so full circle. And the work that I do now is so important. That year, she kind of took me to herself. You're going to help all the kids in my class. They're all going to work with you. Oh, they need, oh, I got a girl just like you. Oh, you'll have to tell her your story. You'll have to tell her. They need to see that someone who sat in this same classroom can make something out of themselves, even when we as teachers don't believe that they can. She apologized a million times, and I said, there's no need for you to apologize. If I was you teaching somebody like me, literally throwing wads of paper at you while you're trying to teach, causing all kinds of problems in the classroom, I would have believed exactly what you believed about me. So I don't blame you, but what you couldn't see in my future is the people that I would encounter, the things that I would have to go through to get where I am. You would have no idea that all of those things will make me who I am today and bring me back to this moment where I can come back and I can help kids who look just like me, who experience things just like me, and who need someone to tell them that success does not have to be defined by other people. You define your own success. And what are you willing to do, right? What are you willing to do to get to the point that you want to be at? I can't tell you what's successful. And last story before I close, I don't have my time here, okay? I had a student when I became the site coordinator, like I shared. We had a leadership group where we worked in partnership with a law firm here locally. Their attorneys would come in and lead this leadership group for our 8th grade students. Typically, the students that were put in the group were our students who were on honor roll, perfect attendance, who were on track to what we may say graduate, on track to college prep, things of that nature. But every now and then in my groups, I always snuck in those students who didn't meet the criteria because I saw something more. And if they didn't get the opportunity, they would never see. So I snuck a couple students in this group, and one particular day, the attorney, her question that kids hear all the time, which they ask us now as adults, what do you want to be when you grow up? Ask me that now, please. I just grew up. So they asked this question, and the kids went around the room, and you heard things like doctors, lawyers, athletes, all of these different careers. And when we got to this particular student, she said, I just want to be successful. And the attorney, she kind of looked at me. A few of the students kind of chuckled, and the attorney said, well, what does that mean? She said, I just want to be successful like my mom. And I said, okay, what does that look like to you? She says, my mom, she takes care of us. We have a house, we have a car, we have everything we need. This is the 8th grade, I got all the J's. I'm like, okay. And I just, my mom, I just want to be successful like my mom. She's the manager at Save-A-Lot. You know that Save-A-Lot over there in Northern Lights? Yeah, my mom is the manager over there, and I just want to be successful like her. And the attorney, she kind of looked at me and I was like, let her go. This is her story to tell. And when the session was over and the students went back to class, the attorney, I remember her saying, did you hear what she said? I said, I heard what she said. But I had to take a moment to reflect. She defines success by the level at which she's been exposed. Her mom has everything that they need, and she gets some of the things that she wants. So in her mind, that's success. Who am I and who are you to try to tell her that that definition of success is wrong? What I can do is expose her to other things, but I don't want to try to make her feel like her mom is not successful because she's been able to get the things that maybe some other people in her family, in her neighborhood, her community may not even have. So all I can do and what I will do is continue to put her in spaces like this, where she is exposed to people who are doing more. But I will not try to define success for her because that's something she gets to do on her own. And as she journeys through life, I hope that she encounters things that not change her definition of success, but expand it. And that's the work that we get to do every day at communities and schools. I want to say thank you to my team, the team that I work with, my colleagues, Ms. Brooklyn, Addie, and Mr. Jackson, who came with me today. I am at time, but what I want to say to you all, you define your success, and that definition can change daily. It's where you want to go and how you want to get there. And thank you for having me.